Hey guys, so welcome back to Minecraft Through the Ages. Today we are going to be doing the courtyard on top of our little shanty town or Sandy Ridge Village. I think I'm probably gonna just do this with y'all here. We'll do a little bit of all my techniques. As you notice, I don't have windows in this courtyard yet. I've got a few, but not many. I gotta fix some of the roof overhangs, and then I need to do some wall texturizing, as well as some landscaping. So we are just gonna jump right into it. This will be the kind of tag along part of the video. So, what we're working on now is just the overlaying details, going around, adding all the doors, making sure the blocks underneath the doors match. So, if it needs to be cobblestone or sandstone, we're kind of putting those in. We're going to do that first. So, let me get a few more things here and make myself some half slabs because we're going to need not too many, but we're going to need a few. And then we will start placing in the rest of these doors that we are missing, starting with the spruce one over here. As you notice, doors going on the inside of this block, so it's going to be a sandstone path up to the door because all our paths in the actual courtyard are going to be sandstone. We're just checking now to make sure we see where all the entrances are to each of these buildings. And again, here we are. We're just checking to see what block needs to go underneath this door. I did add on all these doors when I first made the mountain, so I hadn't figured out like what kind of pathways I was doing or what the layout would look like. So we're just kind of going around and remedying that currently. And then once we finish doing all these door replacements, we're going to start on the other overlaying details, which are like the windows as well as the roof line. So let me finish checking on all these doors, replacing all the blocks underneath the doors, and then we will get started on the windows. All right, placing in the last doors and blocks right now. And beginning on the windows, which will be next. So the trick with these windows, as you'll see in just a second, we're going to try to match the windows to the windows that are already in the build. So with this first one, I think we're going to start with the jungle one, or maybe the oak one in the corner here, actually. Yeah, let's go over to this oak one in the corner. You notice how it's got a glass window. We want to make sure we have glass on this side as well. Checking again, that one's got a fence, so we want to make sure we also put a fence in this side. We are going to rearrange this wall just a little bit to make it easier to put a window in without it looking too weird. So I'm just moving this wall out a block. And then we're going to add the window here in the corner. Then we will go ahead and adjust this wall, or this, not wall, roof. And the way we're doing these roofs, we're just trying to keep a little bit of an overhang all the way around, so like 1 or 2 blocks. If it gets more than like 2 blocks, we usually add like some support beams, as you'll see here in just a minute. I think with the birch one, we have to add some support beams because this roof kind of gets a little out there. As you can see, I'm kind of making it flow nicely, making sure everything doesn't seem like too staggered or too cut up at this point. And now we've got a 2 overhang, and this is where I would personally add some supports just to make it look like it's got some structure. We're just going to use some oak fences like this. And yeah, we're going to continue with these roofs as we go through the rest of this build. With these roofs, we're doing a mixture of stairs and half slabs. Again, we're just trying to keep a very gradual curve out away from the buildings, making it not look too cut up or choppy. And we're going to go back through and add some more windows to this building as well as the birch building right next to it. Again, we're just keeping the windows consistent, making sure that whatever window we have on the outside, we also have on the inside because it's the same house. Same people would have built it. And then after we get all these windows in, we will start doing kind of the what I call overlaying details, as I kind of explained in the last video. But we're going to add some wall texturizing after we do all these overlaying details. And with the wall texturizing, we're mostly going to be focusing on just using steps in this specific version of Minecraft because there aren't too many blocks that match well in this version because this is an older version of Minecraft. I think this one was released in like 2012 or 2013 maybe. So we're kind of limited in blocks. The way we texturize in this version is with steps because you kind of get that kind of dark shadow where the step kind of sets back. But again, we're just kind of going through, making sure these roofs have a gradual overhang, at least one block. And we want to make sure we don't have like too many like super sharp angles. So like you saw me put a step there to kind of break that brick up a little bit. We are kind of fading these together. So you'll notice like right here, I kind of mix in some smooth stone and bricks to signify transferring from one roof to the other. So that's a good building tip for you guys. It works really well in pathways. It works well in buildings, both roof. It works well in walls as well. So if you have like, say you have two buildings next to each other, you might want to mesh some of those blocks together so they don't have a hard stop, as what I call it. But again, we're just kind of going up, tidying up these roofs as we add in all these different windows. Here we are again. We had quite an overhang here, so we're going to try to add some more support beams again using these oak fences. Really neat trick just to make your build look like it's structurally sound. Like, I know there's no physics in Minecraft, but we like it to look like there are physics in Minecraft. It makes it more realistic. In my opinion, it makes it look a lot neater and a lot more interesting when you have these little overhangs. It's like someone walks up to the build and they see that overhang. They're like, oh, what's that? Because, like, from a distance, it kind of looks interesting. Not your typical just straight block, you know? So yeah, little details like that. Fences are great structural building, especially in newer versions. There's a lot more variations in the fences. In this version, we only have oak fences, so we're kind of limited again. We also only have oak doors. So a lot of limitations here, but now we're going to go through and get ready to start on the texturizing. I think we got like 2 or 3 more buildings without windows that we're going to finish up right quick. I did have to move that structure because it's kind of in the way. And we're just trying to figure out where we can put windows in this without it looking too weird. That house was already done when we started this. And again, we are just kind of checking. I am going to rearrange this a little bit to make room for a window. Actually, no, I'm just going to take out these 2 blocks and put a fence pillar straight down. Since this is kind of a rudimentary shanty town, I don't care about it being kind of like open because it's kind of more of a lower poverty level, I guess you could say, in these type of towns where they're just kind of using whatever resources they can find to kind of create themselves a shelter from storm, wind, rain, and things like that. We're going to do a little bit of rearranging here. We're going to bring this wall out just to make it easier for a window to go in here. I think we're going to bring this wall out as well. And then that makes us kind of a nice L shape where we can put ourselves another window. But let me get this door in and then we'll put the window in here. I created this L shape right here, which is where we are now going to put this window. Wrong block. Let me replace that with this spruce. And then oak fence because that's what is on the outside of this building. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now on to, oh, well, we got this one spot where it kind of doesn't overhang enough, so I'm going to add a few blocks there to get that 1 block overhang. And we're going to add some support beams here again, just to add some interest variation to the build. Then let's go ahead and put in the windows for this last build, and then we will get started on the texturizing using the steps. So yeah, let me go ahead and rearrange my inventory, get these steps on my hotbar. And this is all going to be done randomly. There's no rhyme or reason to the way I'm doing this. There's a few specifics that I'll kind of go through as they kind of come up. But yeah, let's go ahead and start here with this birch one's not really enough room to put one, so let's go with this oak one. So, yep, I'm going to take these 2 blocks out. If you notice here, I'm just making sure that there's no holes into the actual build itself. As we're kind of adding these around, making some variations. We don't want it too uniform throughout. Again, this is a rudimentary kind of cobbled together town, so just using whatever. Let me eat real quick. All right, let me adjust this roof a little bit more. It's a little shallow. I didn't like the way those blocks were kind of showing themselves below. So we are adding another layer out in front to kind of break that up a little bit. Just getting a few extra blocks that I'm going to need. I need some of these logs for future areas in the build. Let me take that block back out. I messed up. There we go. Let's mesh this together. Again, that was too much of a straight line, so we're just going to mix in a smooth stone right there and a sandstone right beside it. Again, just trying to mesh those roofs so it's not a hard stop and change over to the new one. We're going to add a few more support structures here, but we want to be careful. We don't want to go overboard. Just want just enough to make it look like it's structurally sound. There we go. So yeah, just kind of going around, making that nice slow curve into the roof. And we're going to go ahead and check. This building doesn't really have a good spot for any texturizing, so we're going to move on to the next one, which is this jungle one. I'm just looking to see where I want to put this. I don't want to mess up kind of the fences or the doors, but this looks like a good spot here, as you can see. And that is fine. Again, it's rudimentary, so we don't mind having some of these kind of like holes in the build itself. A lot of this texturizing, though, is just like placing blocks, taking a step back, seeing if you like it. If you don't, replace a block and put something else in there until you find what looks good to you. It's all very personal preference. I can give you kind of the overall idea of how to do this, but it's really up to you in the end what it's going to look like. So again, we're just trying to add some variation with these. I'm going to probably add a window here actually. Nah, we'll just, that looks pretty good. We'll add that. Yeah, that's fine. This one's pretty much done. There was this one spot that was kind of bland, so I'm like, oh, wait, I can't put a block there. But if I come inside, place a block here, and then I can put a block. So as you can see, now there's no longer a hole there. Check and see what way this door opens to make sure I can place a step there without creating a hole into the house. And now we're just kind of going around the build, just checking these areas that I added windows to see if we can add some texture. I do really like to texturize above windows with steps by reversing them. It just makes it look like the window kind of goes up into the build, or is like built in basically. So I do like doing that. You'll notice I do that a lot throughout this build. I'm going to do it again here on this next birch build as well, I think. Well, let's go ahead and finish up all the spruce stuff first, and then we'll go back and do the other wood types. So it's a little blocky right here. I can't really put something there because there'd be a hole, but I can put something above the door here, an upside down step. It's another really neat trick, doing upside down steps above doors. Really adds some interest to it. Makes it, again, look like the door is slightly bigger than it actually is and adds some variation to it. Let me see if I can get this log in here. Yep, there we go. Just doing a little bit of roof meshing before we continue on with the texturizing. Adding a few more support structures. And I notice there's not really a window here, so we're going to add some textures on this wall. Go pretty hard on the texture on this wall. As you can see, I used 4 steps there, just because there wasn't a good place to put a window, so it added a little bit more interest on that bland wall. Alright, so we are getting close to the texturizing here. And don't you worry, you'll get to see this again kind of in the finished product at the end of the video. We are going to do a little bit more in this video. We're gonna at least lay out the pathways and texturize them a little bit. So this is kind of a texturizing video as I just finish off these walls real quick. And then we will do a quick transition and get into the pathway texturizing. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get these pathways all kind of set up and ready to go. And then after I get everything kind of set, the main thing, I'm going to come back and bring y'all in for the texturizing side of the roads. But yeah, so enjoy these last few seconds of this clip, and we will transition to the next one. Alrighty guys, this video's already getting a little long, so I'm going to do one more thing in this video, and then we will call it good for this one. As you see, I've got kind of all the overlaying main pathways in. We are going to go through and texturize these next as we develop a few details. I've been playing around with some like trash bins. The tricky thing with this version of Minecraft is you have to place trapdoors on a block. So if it's not up against a block, we're not going to be able to use it. But that's fine, because we got all these houses around. We can use them as the backer block. I will need to put a spruce log, or spruce plank there. But yeah, the way I texturize is I get my main pathways in, whatever the main color is going to be. I get that all set around. And then for this specific path, we are using sand, sandstone, and a little bit of soul sand to kind of represent the mud. And I'm basically just going to kind of go around, add these into a few different spots. You want to keep them in kind of clusters. You don't want like one randomly here or there. You kind of want like 3 or 4 all together. And in different patterns, just like so. But first you want to get the overlaying blocks pathway in, and then you want to go and add these details later. You can take a step back, see how it looks as you kind of work your way through these type of things. We don't want to go too overboard with the soul sand. We just want a little bit, so it looks like maybe, you know, like a mud puddle or something kind of. I really like these 2x1 areas for my kind of details, but you can do it however you prefer to do it. So we'll go ahead and get the super contrasting color out first, which in this case is the soul sand. And then we will go back and add the actual sand blocks next. Go ahead and get that ready to go. Cool. Alright, let's go ahead and add these sand blocks. We got a few steps if we need to make any, like, kind of curves, but I think we're pretty good with what we've got so far. The tricky part with sand is you do have to make sure you have a block to place it on, otherwise it just falls to the ground. So that's why we got those kind of cobblestone blocks underneath. And you don't want to repeat the same pattern too often. You want to keep things kind of spread out. I'm going to go ahead and put maybe a couple of sand blocks here as well. And then one thing I like to do after I kind of place these blocks down. Whoops. That's the next step. Show you that in just a second. So yeah, I think we are pretty good on all the sand stuff. Maybe I will add a couple right here, actually. Maybe let's go here. Alright, there we go. And then I like to take these steps next and just kind of cover up these sides of the soul sand so it doesn't like stick out as much. Still sticks out a little, but not as contrasting. Unfortunately, in this version, stairs do not connect, so if I were to try to place something here, as you can see, it doesn't connect, so it doesn't look too good. So we are actually going to change this up just a little bit. We're actually going to put a block there and bring this down like so. Next step, I'm going to kind of go around in a couple of these areas around the mud. I'm just going to add a step. The reason being is if mud's gathering, then there's probably like a divot in the pathway. So this kind of signifies where water might be getting stuck. So I like to place a little bit of these little crevices kind of around these, what I'm calling mud blocks. They aren't actual mud blocks, so we are only in 1.3. Mud blocks were not invented at this stage of Minecraft. So. Whoop! I fell down, that would have been bad. This might be, yeah, that's fine. About to say that might be a lower, but it's not. We're good. Come on. Thank you. Cool. Alright, let me get a few more steps. And I'm gonna go ahead and sleep real quick. Alright, let's go ahead and sleep. We'll finish out this pathway, and then we will start placing some trash bins. So we are getting into what I consider the high details. And actually, I think I'm going to save the trash bins for next episode, because that episode's really going to focus on all things high detail related, or what I consider high detail items. So yeah, I think next episode we will focus solely on high detail on both the build and the courtyard. We'll do the courtyard kind of together as our tag-along series, as our tag-along segment, and then we will kind of do a transition to show the other one. This looks pretty good, so I'm not actually going to mess around with that too much. Last thing I like to do is take kind of a dirt block, kind of climb up, and just kind of view this from a top, because like once you get to later Minecraft, you're kind of flying around the builds rather than walking through them. So you just want to make sure these things look pretty good from the top as well. And as you can see, that's looking pretty good. But yeah, and you know what? Let's go ahead and put a couple of trash bins. I got a few extra minutes. So let's get these trash bins out. The way I'm kind of going to do this is just kind of place them around with the trapdoor on top. So it looks like you open it to put your trash in. We're just going to do a few. We're not going to get too carried away with this. So yeah, we're just kind of going around, adding a few trash bins here and there. We got one there, maybe one more kind of over in this area. I think I'm going to do a black one just because I don't want it to kind of blend with the grass. And then, yeah, I think that works. Let's do one more over here. Why not? Yeah, let's do one more kind of in this corner, actually. There we go. There we go. Alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you will stay tuned and check out future episodes. Like I said, this is episode 18. We're going to be continuing this series. Like I said, I've been trying to upload every week, ideally, but I think it's going to be more like every 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoy this content, make sure you hit that like button. If you really enjoy the content, consider subscribing with notifications on so you never miss an update. Anyways, it's Dark Skywolf, and I am signing off for the day. So long, and have a great night, everybody.